Hi, I'm Jason Blake, PEI president. I'm just back from the PEI convention, and it was a great show. We had over 1,500 attendees and 160 exhibitors. I want to spend a few minutes going through the industry outlook if you were not able to attend our show this year. As I went through this year and looked at my industry outlook and what I was going to discuss, I thought about all those major disruptors that we see in our business every day. Inflation, a possible looming recession, we have supply chain disruption, we have these workforce issues finding talent, we have technology challenges, increased regulations, and then we have this EV component that is adding complexity. It was hard to sum those all up, but we came up with these industry trends that I'm going to spend some time talking about. The economic pressures, sustaining profitability, industry consolidation, alternative fuels, talent challenge, and supply chain. First of all, let's talk about the economic pressures. So here's what inflation looks like at this point. If you look at what our forecast is for 2023, we're over 6%. But if you look at this graph through those years, it's amazing how fast we got there. We are definitely feeling these inflationary pressures. Let's peel back the onion a little bit and look at our industry. Let's look at wholesale growth. If we look at wholesale trade, it's around 14.8%. But when we look at our industry, we see that our industry performed at 7.8%, and that's not adjusted with inflation. So we're working really hard, but we're still not feeling really good about it because of inflation. Let's look at optimism a little bit. So first of all, business optimism for 2026. 69% of you feel moderately optimistic or extremely optimistic when you're looking at 2026. And we look at hiring, we're poised to make some big hires in 2026, which tells us we're preparing for some larger growth. So when we sum up economic pressures and we talk about where we think we're at, I'm going to give us a yellow caution sign right now. Our service and construction and distributors see growth. Our manufacturers see some slight softness, and the cost of capital is going up, and that will hurt us. Let's move on to profitability. When we look at the PEI profitability report and we see the financial trends, we see that all respondents to us say that their sales growth is looking to be about 7% growth in 2023. When we go at profit margin before tax, we see that all respondents to the PEI profitability report said that they were seeing a profit net margin at about 5.6%. But we do see some opportunity here. When we break out our distributors, we see that our best in class was 7.7%. And then we look at our service construction, we see that our best in class is 9.7%. So in summary, when we're talking about profitability, I'm going to give it a yellow or yield at this point. Why? Well, labor expenses are really driving a lot of that profitability. Supplier agreements, they're affecting that, and supply chain still has some components of it. Regulation and inflation are also affecting our bottom line. But we do have some opportunity to work harder, as you can see by the PEI profitability report, and we're working with our members to discover those opportunities to build growth from a profitability standpoint. Now let's focus on industry consolidation. This year we decided to take a different approach. We asked our manufacturers how they view industry consolidation. And if you look at this slide, interestingly enough, most of our manufacturers, over 50%, say industry consolidation is not really affecting their businesses. To sum up industry consolidation, I would say it's a green light and a thumbs up. The reason I say that is there is a lot of opportunity right now. Sure, we see a lot of consolidation happening, but as I've said in the past in my other talks, we can be either product-focused or volume-focused. Product-focused is when we really focus on the customer and the services, and volume-focused is when we focus on sales and increasing and becoming larger. And I believe there's opportunity for both of those distributors moving forward. Disruption offers opportunity. Now let's look at alternative fuels. We asked our members, in the next 10 years, which energy source will be most important to the consumer for transportation? And we overwhelmingly responded petroleum, with the hybrid being the next selection and EV coming in third. This is no surprise here, as we all think petroleum will be the major driver in 10 years. And as more news comes out on EV, it's becoming less and less shiny of an energy source in the future. At this point, disruption is good, and we greenlight alternative fuels because there are opportunities, especially in EV and hydrogen. Now let's look at the talent challenge. And when we look at sales per employee, we see by the PEI profitability report, our employees contribute about $400,000 in revenue to our organization. And when we look a little deeper into this, and we look at the estimated average age of our employees, we know that it's right in between 40 and 50 years. So we do have an aging workforce. But let's take a little different dive in this and look at the turnover rate of a service technician. Currently, we have a turnover rate, if we look at the first 3 bars, of 4 to 5 service techs per company. There is definitely a technician shortage, and we are working on ways to solve that through our PEI Education Center. So at this point, I'm cautionary with the talent challenge. We think new technology will drive younger generation into our industry. We have established a career path that is a work-based learning program. Our key is to promote our industry. Finally, let's talk about supply chain. When we asked our members from a manufacturing time what their current lead times are compared to last year, a majority of them said they're getting better than they were last year and they are improving. So that is really a good sign. In summary, I'm going to greenlight the supply chain because it is improving and we are understanding the timing of the supply chain and getting it down as distributors in our industry. I'd like to review with you some final thoughts. First of all, customer service is not dead. If we focus on the customer first, we will find plenty of business because the orders are very far out and there are customers always looking for the great services we contribute as an industry. Secondly, EV solution is not as shiny as we once thought. It's still a major part of our industry, but we'll see what it yields in 2024. Regulation is driving more opportunities in our industry, and as regulation increases, we will see more opportunity. Work orders for distributors in service and construction are not slowing down, and cost of capital is showing glimpses of slowing down growth overall. And finally, we'll need to embrace technology for our industry to grow in the future. I'm Jason Blake, and thank you for watching PEI Newswatch. I hope you thought this industry outlook was helpful and gave you a glimpse in the next 6 to 12 months. Thank you for being a PEI member.